Hello everyone, I am Argyris. Today we'll talk about data and analytics, and basically I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. We want to make this a super interactive session, so at any point, if you don't understand something, say, I don't understand, and I will explain it better. If I'm not speaking clearly, tell me, dude, speak slower or speak faster or speak louder. And in general, I would appreciate if you have any questions related to what I'm saying, do them on the spot so we can sort of have a small chat about it. I have a presentation, but I like my presentations to always diverge. So if we find a topic that is more interesting for most of you, we can sort of diverge into that. Great? Yeah. Excellent. Do you see me here, or should I get up on stage? Excellent. Here it is then. So, yeah, I will talk very briefly about myself and my team so you can have some context about the things I will say in my presentation. Along with my team, we founded 4 years ago AtYourService. AtYourService is an online marketplace for local services in Cyprus, like painters, photographers, or even tutors and lawyers. It has customers and professionals. The customer describes the service he's looking for, and he receives offers from professionals with a full rating and review history, sort of what you see in TripAdvisor for hotels. It was launched, as we said, 4 years ago, and now each month about 500,000 worth of jobs is done through AtYourService, and we have 10,000 professionals and companies submitting offers on our platform. Our biggest challenge in AtYourService is because we cover 200 categories. In essence, we've built sort of 50 separate businesses into one, which is a good and a bad thing. It helps us grow a lot. We're still growing at a rate of like 10, 11% month to month after 4 years. But at the same time, it sort of creates challenges that we will use the next 4 or 5 years to build 50 different small businesses within AtYourService to counter each of these challenges. How do we know that? A big reason of that is analytics, and we'll talk about a few things as we see the data. Now, our goal when we first launched AtYourService was to take it globally because, as always, we want to take over the world. We had a unique business model which allowed us to have great growth. We had great numbers for the first year and a half. We talked to investors. We hadn't verified our business model yet, so the agreement we had is if you verify your business model, we'll give you money to go to Greece, try it there for 12 months, and if that works, we go to Italy. So we launch our business model, and it sucks. So we go back to the drawing boards, make a lot of changes in the way it works in Cyprus, and it takes us about another year and a half for it to become profitable in Cyprus. That happened about 16 months ago. And at that point, we had a decision of whether we should take AtYourService into other countries, which was it was a tough proposition because most countries had competition at that point, or to start something new. And we started Foody, which is a simpler business. Foody is a web and mobile app through which you can order food from currently 180 restaurants all over Cyprus. It was launched in September last year, and in November we will have 100 times more orders than what we had on the first month we advertised on TV, which was last September. So it's growing like crazy. In September it grew by 33% in 1 month. In October it will grow by in October it grew by 33. In November it will grow by 25. So we're still fucked up by the really big growth we have, and we're trying not to screw it up. We have a team of 7 now that works full-time, and our main goal at this point is stabilize Foody, have it continue grow, and ideally, in 2007, we will build our next project, which will be global. Enough for me and my team. That's not what you're here for. It's just some context on what we will be talking about. So the first big question is, why bother with analytics? It's a really tough question, actually. And I'm not sure many people understand why you should do analytics. I mean, yeah, it's cool. Presenting graphs always makes you look good. But that's not what analytics is. The key point is that analytics is a decision-making tool. So how do you guys make decisions in your company? What's the process that you follow? Anyone courageous enough? How do you think most teams make their decisions? I think there are three ways of making decisions. The first and most common one is that the loudest voice wins. If you've ever been in a team of 5, like you have a person talking like 60, 70% of the time, he has a loud voice, and he gets 60 or 70% of the decisions. Doesn't mean he's the smartest, it doesn't mean he's the best at what he does, but he gets most of the decisions. In other companies, they make decisions hierarchical, meaning the person who's higher in the hierarchy tells his opinion and everyone else plain follows. And in other groups who don't have any clue on what they're doing, basically they're making random decisions. You know, someone says, let's do that, everyone cannot be bothered to argue, or arguing doesn't work in that group, and they make random decisions. So the key value of analytics is that it can become a universal language for teams. Analytics is a cultural shift. It's a decision-making framework. It's a common language that allows teams to agree that we will not make decisions based on who proposes something, based on how loud his voice is, but we will make decisions based on data. Basically, it's taking the scientific method, which means we see the data, we do a hypothesis, then we run an experiment, and then we make a decision. Analytics, at the bottom of it, is part of the culture of the team, and it's really part of the basic essence of the culture of a team. Are we a team that decides based on who proposes something? Or are we a team that tries to make the best decisions based on the reality, even if we hate what the data says? So if you're going to sort of keep one point from today's presentation, it's this. Teams that base their decision-making on analytics, teams that have a strong analytics culture, they make much better decisions. And it's much easier to operate in those teams because you can make your hypothesis, test it, and be right or wrong, and be happy because you tested it. The holy grail of this is for each team and each team member to have strong opinions, weakly held. I used to think that it's better to have sort of more mellow opinions because it would be easier to change them. But the holy grail of teamwork today is, I think, is having strong opinions. Strong opinions means I strongly believe that this is the best option for us. But as soon as you see data, as soon as you have another hypothesis that seems to be a better match than yours, change it. Time out. Does this make sense? Is everyone following? Excellent. So if there is one thing that you keep from today's presentation is this, like, build the culture of your team around analytics. It's a great language for everyone to speak. If someone wants to propose something, he says, look, based on this data, based on this feedback we get from customers, I believe that this might be happening, so let's test it this way. It's a big shift from, the customer told us that this is bad, so it's not working. No, it's get the data, make a hypothesis, propose an experiment, and a way to run it. So this comes in direct contrast with how most companies today use analytics. Who wants to take a guess on how most companies use analytics today? Excellent, very close. You? Yeah, so I have it a little different here, is to make them look good. We decide what we want to do because, we were born knowing all the answers. We do it, and then we mine the data, trying to find the parts of the data that makes us look good. And that sucks because we're making the wrong decisions. We think we're making the right decisions, so we're very confident in those decisions, so we double down on them. And we found ourselves down a hole. One of the key questions that companies fail to ask is, what are the metrics that really matter to us? Like when you speak with people about analytics, they tell you impressions, video views, Facebook likes. Why do these metrics even matter? Are you in the business of selling Facebook likes? If not, why does it matter? You can buy that stuff. What value does it add to your business? So if you want analytics to be part of your culture, one of the first things you should do is decide what are the metrics that really matters. What are the KPIs for your companies? Now let me give you an example here. I explained our two businesses, so I will be able to give examples. For Foody, we have only one KPI, and that's very simple. It's not visits, it's not unique users. It's the value of orders placed every day or every week or every month at Foody. It's a pretty straightforward website. The website is there for the customer to go online and place an order. That's it. We do not care about anything else, or everything else is secondary and below. Now, not all websites are as easy as Foody. That's why I will use the example of AtYourService as well. AtYourService is a marketplace for customers and professionals. So we have 2 or 3 KPIs. On the customer side is how many customers request a service. And on the professional side is how many professionals give offers. So these are our 2 KPIs. And each one has a different value. Posting a job has a value of 5 euros. Submitting an offer has a value of 1 euro for us. Or putting an order on Foody has a value of 1 euro. We have everything nailed down to value. But this is the only things we care about. That's really important because it allows us to focus all our activity, all our actions to improve those KPIs. We're not marketing to get Facebook likes. We're not marketing to get people to our website. We're marketing the best way to get orders. Now, in the next few slides, we will see the different ways you can use analytics as an individual or as a company through your daily or through your monthly process. The first way, spoilers, sorry. So the first way you use analytics is as a dashboard, as a big monitor where you can see things changing. And that's really useful because if you monitor analytics every day, you can easily identify when something goes wrong and fix it. Now, at the scale of Foody, we probably do it at a daily basis. If we had a bigger business, we would do it at an hourly basis. But be sure that Amazon does that every 5 seconds. Like, they can identify within 5 seconds that something is wrong because the conversion rate in the 10,000 orders that happen in the last 5 seconds is lower. The second, so we have a mix-up in the presentation. Yeah, okay, we'll take it from here. Let me try and understand the story as it is here. Okay, yeah, so this is a previous version, so let's take it from there. Another big value proposition of analytics is the visualization of data, meaning that you can get data, but really sort of having to go through 1,000 pages of Excel is really not useful. And you always get that reaction if you send someone 1,000 pages of Excel. Tell him, look, the answer is in there. So data are important. Analytics are also very important, which is the process of making sense through the data. But at the same time, data visualization is very important, because one of the areas that I love a lot are football analytics. And nobody gets them. A big part of the reason is that people try to either dumb it down very much into simple numbers like possession percentage, which is bullshit, or they give you 1,000 pages Excel. But there are some great visualizations example out there. This is the passing map of an actual football game. And if you see that, in the first 30 seconds, you can actually understand what happened as probably better than your perception was if you watch the whole game. And if you do that, if you watch the game and you see the stats and you see a few visualizations, you're at a point that you understand things 10 times better than most people do. So most people use analytics mostly for marketing evaluation. I'm advertising on Facebook and I want to see how it goes. But really, that's such a small part of what you can do with analytics. You can use analytics to get actionable insights on almost everything. You can use it to evaluate marketing. You can use it to evaluate the product development. Is what I'm building useful? Is there a bug out there? You can use it to generate sales leads. You can even see which companies are visiting your website and know that they are good targets for you. You can use it to do market research, monitor your competition, and understand your customers. And in the next few slides, we'll sort of see the ways you can do that. But even though most companies sort of get what I'm saying here, they still use analytics for this, which, it works for them. But we're trying to go beyond that. So, as we said before, the first way you can use analytics is for monitoring. This is probably my favorite activity, because every day I get my coffee and I watch and I monitor 10 reports and I know what happened to our website the day before. So the first thing I see are daily orders per channel. I'm not sure if these are visible, like the purple line are orders through direct visits. These are the mobile app. These are orders from Facebook, and these are orders from AdWords. And I see this every day. Now, I also know the activities as node. You can see there is a node over there. And I know, for example, here, we had an offline advertising event. Did it work? Well, yes. This node here led to this spike here. So this kind of worked. It's even more useful because you can probably see if something goes wrong, like if there is a big downturn in the orders that you get from SEO, it means that you've probably been penalized or a competitor has ranked above you in a significant term. Another report I watch every day is the number of incomplete orders per day. So an incomplete order for me is an order that went to the final stage but was not completed. Why do we monitor that? Because it's a very important and a very common drop-off point, and it's a very, very big indication that you have a bug. The day that you see in the red circle, we had a bug. How did we catch it? I saw this report the next day. I said, fuck, something is wrong here. I sent it to our developers. Said, oops, there was an if, which in these cases kept loading in the confirmation page. If we were a bigger company, we would monitor this on a daily basis or have alerts that alert us real time. But the data in Cyprus are small, and sort of you have to go against your urges, which are automate everything, measure everything, because you will get 99 false positives and one actual error. So that's why we do it on a daily basis. Another very important report, this is probably the most important for all and the most applicable for everyone, is the conversion rate per device. The devices are desktop, tablet, and mobile. First, it's good to know the differences in the conversion rates between the devices. You know which interface is better, which process is easier for your customers. But what's more important is to see the big drops that you see there. We develop on a mobile-first basis, meaning we do all our designs and all our development first for mobile. Then we scale it for desktop. And sometimes in the process, we forget tablet. And it shows. In these two cases, there were not bugs. There were design misalignments that made the process on the tablet much more difficult to do. And then you have the same per operating system. There are two nice learnings from this slide. The first is that iOS devices convert 60% better than Android devices. And that's huge. That's really huge to know. And that it's easier to build bugs in the iOS platform again. From this is just the last month that I'm showing you, and these are actual data. I didn't make anything up for this presentation. So the first bug was a problem with the collapse expand button in iOS. And the last one was an open div that caused the JavaScript not to load. If we didn't have these analytics, what are the alternatives? Like we push code every day. The alternative would do like automated testing, which doesn't catch everything, do 3 hours of testing every day, or have 1 million bugs on our website. Just the fact that we have the process, that we monitor the analytics every day, and we go through a testing process. I mean, we do not introduce big bugs on our website. These are minor bugs that are really hard to find because they're device-specific or page-specific. We know that we will push to production on a fast basis, which allows us to build features faster, and we will catch the bugs with a 24-hour delay. This alone probably increases like our development speed by 50%. Another very useful report to always monitor is the average page load time of your page. This is really important because if the load time of your page goes up, it's a sign that something is wrong or that a technology has changed and your caching isn't working. And it's basically every time you see your page load time goes up, it's a sign that you should investigate. 9 out of 10 times it's nothing or it's a minor thing that you can easily improve, but 1 out of 10 times you identify a bigger problem that could have crashed your server on a Saturday night. So you can combine all of what we said through Google Analytics intelligence events, which are either automated or you can set rules, and Google Analytics tells you when something goes off, if your conversion rate drops by 20% or if your visits from that specific source go up or down. I'm putting it here because it's a really, really great tool, and at the same time, I don't think it's applicable in Cyprus. I think we have one of the websites with the highest interaction rates in Cyprus and the highest traffic, and we still couldn't make anything out of this data. Like, it's full of false negatives or false positives, so we don't use it extensively yet. If we had more traffic, if we had a 0 behind our traffic, then we could sort of automate everything we saw in the previous slides and get an alert on our mobile every time something went off the charts. I don't think that's possible in Cyprus yet, but I would love if someone would stand up now and tell me, no, it's wrong, you can do it that way. Damn. So this is sort of the first pillar of how we use analytics. We use it to monitor, daily monitoring. Get your coffee, see the reports. 9 out of 10 times everything is okay. 1 out of 10 times you split your coffee and you send a task to your developer. The second way we use analytics is to understand. Now, reality is often messy. Like, if you want to understand your traffic, how you get customers, you're always left just feeling this. Now, there are so many ways you attract customers. There are so many channels. There are so many problems that arise when you try to make sense of this, that you're always baffled. And you either try to do nothing or you try to get everything correctly. I will share some advice that are sort of 80-20 analytics, the 20% that you can do that will get you the 80% of the result. And the first thing is try and segment your users. There is a thing in analytics called channels, where you can basically create buckets of the source of your user. Now, the original ones that Google has have a lot of problems. What's the biggest problem I see? Well, it puts under the same bucket the customers that come to your website searching for the name of your website, or the ones that come searching for something else. So if we're talking about Foody and we're talking about natural search, it puts under the same bucket the users who visit our website who search for the word Foody, and under the same buckets those who have searched Toronto pizza and somehow landed on Foody because it's the number 3 result. Now, these are two completely different categories of users. That's why we create our own channels. Like, for us, direct is anyone that comes directly to our website or looks for our name. And then we have organic restaurant search, and we have AdWords restaurant search, which is really important channels for us. What's really important here is that you can see that each channel has a completely different profile. Now, some are new users, some are returning users. Some users are good, some users kinda suck. If you see the last column, we have a column that is called per session goal value. And that's actually true. We have our analytics in order, so every user that comes from Facebook brings us 8 cents. Why is that important? Well, if I can get that user with 3 cents or with 4 cents, then it means that I have a scalable and profitable business, because I buy him for 4 cents and he gives me 8. If I invest 1,000 euros, I will get 2,000 back. If I invest 10,000, I will get 20,000 back. Does that make sense? And you also see, like, I'm oversharing here. These are actual information. I haven't shared how many sessions we have out of each, but the rest is real. And you see that a user that comes from AdWords is 65% more valuable than a user that comes from Facebook. That's really good to know, and we should adjust our budget allocation based on that. Excellent.
So, just looking at 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Just looking at 1 and 2. What you said earlier, that it's not only to project an image of the company and make yourself look good, it's to actually use it to make decisions.
Yes.
So, you're looking at Facebook and AdWords. How would you decide whether you should invest in Facebook to improve the per session goal value, or whether you should stick with AdWords because it already provides higher income to you?
Okay. That's a great question, and I would love to have it interactive. That's why I would love to have the session interactive. So you cannot necessarily improve the per session goal value. It's conversion rate optimization. So to improve the per session goal value, I have to sort of work with my designer and developer and make people convert more. What we have to decide each month is we have a budget of 100 euros. How much of it will we give to Facebook, and how much of it will we give to AdWords? And that's pretty simple. That's, you sort of know how much each click costs you on AdWords, how much each click costs on Facebook, which are not on here, and then you optimize based on that. So if on AdWords each click costs you 20 cents, you probably should stop advertising on AdWords because it's a losing proposition. It's never that simple. So if clicks cost the same, I would give all my budget to AdWords if I had a budget constraint. But then sometimes you have a bigger budget than the market. Let's say I have a budget of 5,000 euros, and AdWords can only take 3,000 euros. Then it means that I will put the 3,000 in AdWords and put the remaining in Facebook if it's still a winning proposition. Does that make sense, or I didn't answer?
That's basically what you make is a cost-benefit analysis.
ROI analysis. Everything boils down to a return on investment. Everything can be measured. Your content marketing strategy can have a ROI number. It's not a short term, like a content strategy takes 2 years to see the full benefits. But everything should boil down to a return on investment. And you should have a list that everything is sorted by the highest return on investment, and you do the activities that have the highest return and fit in your budget. Shoot.
Dark social is, especially considering that, okay, other crap has a very low view session, but extremely high precision value, and on the other side, dark social has a very high number of sessions, and it's pretty decent.
Okay, excellent questions both. I love the questions. So dark social is a channel that is very difficult to measure. Dark social means that you know that this user probably came from social media, but privacy walls do not show him. They show him as direct traffic to your website. How do we know that? Let's say we have a new job on AtYourService, and a user lands directly on that job post, and that wasn't posted anywhere else. There is no way for him to land there to a new job. So basically, you know that someone shared it with him on mobile, he clicked on it. There's a double privacy wall, so you cannot track the actual source. So dark social are the users that you know that originated from sharing between people, but you cannot track it. And it's probably a much bigger channel than this, but we know that this is definitely dark social. There might be more of it. So other crap is a very interesting channel. Dark social is a standard name. Other crap is a name we coined. It's basically there are always errors in measuring. Sometimes when people log in with Facebook or log in with Google, new sessions are created, and that's exactly what other crap is. So other crap is basically stuff that should have been in the other channels, but because of errors in measurement, are not given correctly to you by analytics, and we sort of put them together and ignore them. Yeah, basically, this has no value. All other values should have been a little bit higher, but other crap steals a little bit from them. Can someone tell me the time to know how to adjust the... What's that?
2 October.
We have... No, how much time we have left? Okay, so fair warning. Hopefully this coincides with the Google. So if you want to go to the Google Assistant presentation, or if you have OCD, please leave the room now. Because as I said before, okay, great. So if you buy clicks cheaper, you should continue doing it. If not, you should stop doing it. But the reality is messy. This is the actual customer paths to their first purchase on Foody. So let's say this user here first found Foody through searching for the name of a restaurant, not clicking on an ad, but clicking on the organic search which will appear near the top. Then clicked twice on our ads in AdWords, then went through a restaurant website, There are lots of restaurants that link to us. Then clicked on a Facebook ad. Then came to our website directly. You can see where this is going. And at the end of this journey, he made his first order on Foody. How do you attribute this? Like, which channel brought me this customer? Was he a Facebook ad, an AdWords, an organic search? Is he a repeat user? Now, these are the real-life problems you face when you go into advanced analytics. Up to now, we have been talking everything per the last touch point of the user. If his last visit is from Facebook, then he comes from Facebook. Now, to add further complexity to this, there are also errors in tracking when user logs from the computer, then from his mobile, or when he clears his cookies, or if he uses a browser with do not track. This makes you feel this again. But fortunately, there is a very important tool in Google Analytics that helps you calculate the value of each touch point. So you can either use one of the existing formulas or do your own formula, and this is my formula. My formula is that the first time a customer came to my website gets 40% of the value. All the intermediate interactions, if it's 1 or 100, doesn't matter. They share 20% of the value. And the last interaction gets another 40% of the value. And through that, should I go over it again? Clear? Excellent. And through that, you can see the actual value of each channel. Now, again, I have erased the names and changed the colors here. You can see the reason. But we know the value of each channel, not based just on the last touch points, but over the life cycle of a user through our website.
Why the specific weighting?
That's just my formula. It's up to debate. Like, you can use different models, and we use different models. But my idea is the first time a user visits your brand is really important. Like, the introduction is really important. And the last visit, the one that makes the purchase, are the most important ones. Another reason for that is that if you use other formulas direct, which repeat users come directly to your site, or they search for your brand name, which again we count as direct, they usually get an over-allocation of the value, but you do not care about direct. What helps you in the decision is you want to know how the customer found out about you and which are the communication. Was it the email that convinced him to buy? Was it the Facebook ad? Or was it, finding it at the right time? So that's why I use the first and last formula, but I change that every week, to be honest. And hopefully, once you see that report, you get a calm feeling that sort of everything is in place. I will go away from the multiple touch points topic, which is a very important one if you go to advanced analytics. Another practical advice on what you can and should do is create user personas. Like on AtYourService, we have customers and professionals. Measuring their visits in the same way is stupid. And then we have customers who come to the website for the first time. We have customers that come every week. We have professionals that come every day, and we have professionals that come occasionally. And to understand what's good and what's bad in the platform for them, we have to create different customer personas. Now, we don't just see this one report. These are filters, and we see all reports separately for each customer persona. And we want to know what are the breakpoints for customers, and what are the breakpoints for professionals. When do they give up? The only way to do that is to sort of stop seeing your data set as a whole, but filtering it down according to the user persona. Now, we've done it mostly from scratch, and that's not necessarily the best idea. There are some great tools out there. I recommend that everyone tries Intercom. This is an image from Intercom, or KISS metrics that can help you segment your customers very well. Like, a very important customer group for Foody are customers that have been to a menu page 5 times, added things to their cart, but have never placed an order on Foody. Now, we know that this group exists because the analytics show it, and we get feedback all the time. It's the people that have our app, they see the menus of the restaurants, and then they call the restaurant directly, which is, that happens into every country, and that's okay. So if we can segment them, then we can create a special offer just for them. So if someone places his 5th order via phone, how do we know that? We just explained. Then at the time he leaves, when he stays on your menu for 10 seconds, you can send them an offer and say, €5 off if you place your order in the next 15 minutes. And you convince someone that was not your user, but is a high-volume user, to test your platform for the first time. And if he tests it for the first time and adds his address inside, you know that everything will be easier after that. That's really important. With these tools, like with Intercom, with the tools that you have, you can send them a message, you can send them a pop-up. With the internal tools we have, you can even send them like separate Facebook ads. Like you can target this group and send them a Facebook ad that tells them exactly that. So not only you can segment your users, but you can contact them through multiple channels. You can contact them through SMS, email, push notification, pop-up, on-site message, Facebook ads, Google ads, you name it. And now you realize probably that Amazon can do whatever they want with you. Like, they have Facebook and Google and Amazon, they have data on us, and they can basically manipulate sort of whatever we do. That's the reality of 2016, and I think sort of the US elections, which is a very hot topic right now, is a big indication that data is getting very big. We are people, we are all, we all have our biases, and in the wrong hands, this can be very sort of bad. I love marketing and I hate marketing for exactly these reasons. Like, I get excited doing these things, like improving our conversion rate or our ads 10% really gets me excited. But at the same time, I get scared because I realize that in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years, we will all be getting constantly manipulated by it. So a better solution must be found about this. Enough about the privacy sort of thing. Another very actionable suggestion, anyone who works with analytics, they want to build their own analytics dashboard. It's a dashboard that has everything. It shows all the sources, it shows graphs about everything. If you click on it, you can drill down and see the details. It's basically the one dashboard to rule them all, the precious dashboard. My advice here is quite simple. Don't do it. I've wasted thousands of hours trying to build the best dashboard out there, but as soon as I finished, I realized that, no, I can get better results if I change this. And then once I did that, Facebook changed, so I had to redo it again. And you know what? Facebook and Google change every 15 days. And I'm talking about serious changes. I'm not talking about small stuff. So I am a big fan of 80-20 everything. A big value of our team is always use the 80-20 rule, and that applies to analytics. Use analytics as a decision-making tool. Sort of making the perfect dashboard is more pride and more OCD than anything else. Analytics are used to make decisions. So use the Facebook platform to make decisions about Facebook. Use the Google platform to make decisions about Google. Keep Google Analytics, keep your central spreadsheet, and make decisions. Don't build a perfect model, but build your MVP, measure it, learn from it, and improve it. And do that once a week, every week. Don't try to start from perfect, but build something and improve it every week, and don't go overboard. Now, if you want to build a dashboard, I recommend you build the Metrics for Pirates dashboard. I mean, this is an analytics presentation. We had to talk about metrics for pie rates. So if you want to build something like this, which is really hard to build, start from this. The metrics for pie rates, it's the short name R. It basically segments your users into buckets. Acquisition are the new users you get. Activation is from those new users that you get, how many of them sign up, become regular users, visits 3 times in a week? Then how many of them do you keep after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after a month? How many of them bring revenue, make a purchase? And how many of them refer you to your friends? This was written in like 2005, and it's the best single slide in analytics that was ever produced. So if you want to build a dashboard, try and build this, but it's okay not to sort of get it perfect from the first day. Build your MVP, improve it, and learn every day. And I think that's it, and I would like to hear more questions now.
When you're not working in technology, when you're not doing business over the internet, let's say you're working at a services-oriented company, but entrepreneurship is not necessarily about technology or the internet. Maybe I start my own company and I'm offering services, let's say as a consultant. How do I determine which metrics are most important? And then how do I collect them given that I don't have the assistance of technology to see click-throughs, to see purchases?
Excellent. That's a very good question. The first part of your question is easy. Any business you do, you should know at any point what's your KPI. What are the metrics that matters the most to you? That's leads or that's closed deals. That's customers, that's euros paid. I mean, at the end of the day, it has to be about euro. We're building businesses here. How do you collect the data? That's tougher. It means that you have to do a lot of sort of manual data keeping. But if you do that diligently, like every lead you touch, you put it in an Excel, or even better, you use a CRM. There are great CRM software out there that you can input every time you contact this customer, you put it in there. You say, I spent 20 minutes on it. I've spent 30 minutes on it. And if you sort of put all your data through a system, screw the Excel thing that I said, use a CRM because they're pretty advanced. If you do that for a few months, then you will be able to identify which are the best channels, like from where do you get the best customers, not just in terms of revenue, but in terms of ROI, in terms of how much time do I spend to get customers to close customers that I get through friends. How much time does it take me to close customers that I start cold calling? You might find that cold calling actually doesn't work, or it works great and you should stop doing other things. The most difficult part is that you have to sort of put the data and put it in for months before you have any sort of result. But it does help you improve.
So there are this is Google Analytics, you mentioned these metrics, but there are 1,000 analytics too.
Yes.
So they came out, there is a mixed panel, whatever. You try them out, and if you do, how do you know that this is the tool I want to use? Or it's reporting correctly, let's say somehow?
Yeah, that's a great question, and just decide. Like, probably the most difficult thing to do is decide which platforms you will use. Because Google Analytics is free, it's sort of the default standard, but after that, if you want to do something better because it has a limitation, it's tough. I try them all out because I love data, and I do it because I want to see what's out there, how technology is evolving, and what we can do. But I would say the best answer here, again, is use the 80-20 rule. There will be better tools if you want to measure something specific, but you'll probably need 2 hours to set them up, and 10 hours to learn them, and 20 hours to evaluate if they're a good fit with your business. So trying a new tool each week, it's really, really, really expensive. So as with everything you do, you have to use 80-20. Again, you follow blogs, you see, I cannot argue against Mixpanel now. Now everyone is using it, it's really good, but we don't use it at our company. Why? I think it's better than Google Analytics, but we have Google Analytics sort of set up. Our developer knows how to do events, and we track everything the custom way, so we don't need it. If I was in a new team, I would probably use it because it will help me save time. So the answer is it depends on your current situation. Use the basics, do them well, like go in depth instead of going wide, instead of measuring 20 different things and not measuring them well. Measure 5 things or 2 things and understand them really well, and then do the third thing. And once you get into something in depth, you will know if this tool is worth 100 euros more per month, the data that it gives to me. And here a big disclaimer again, the ROI on most of the tools in Cyprus is negative because they have Silicon Valley prices, like they charge 100 and 150 or 200 euros per month to use, which is okay if your developer's salary is like 10,000 euros. But it doesn't really work in Cyprus where everything is much cheaper.
Okay, I have one for you.
Shoot.
So, I love the Pirates sheet there, with metrics. I mean, it would be awesome to know that the flow it goes for your product. So, do you use any kind of automation to get all the information gathered together? Because you showed stuff like you need to track users that came to your site, actions they did in different channels, not just the website. So do you use any kind of automation, either manually or with other tools, to gather information from the different analytics yet to create that, or do you actually do manual work because you haven't found the usable way with the tool?
That's a very good question. It helps me sort of reiterate 2 of my main points. We mostly do it in Google Analytics because sort of that's our cup of tea and we learn how to build in them. One answer is we're not gathering data and putting them in a big dashboard Excel because that's very costly in terms of time. What we actually do is we make decisions on the spot. So we use Facebook to make decisions for Facebook, Google to make decisions for Facebook, and then we try to get the big funnels in Google Analytics. If you try and get all the information in Google Analytics, like evaluating which campaigns do best on Facebook, which ad sets do best on Facebook, and do the metrics for pirates for a Facebook campaign, then it gets very thin, and basically you will not make the correct decisions. So we make the decisions on Facebook without that funnel. We make them from the Facebook platform based on different metrics. So if I'm evaluating Facebook campaigns, I'm not doing metric for pirates. I measure CPA, which is cost per action, cost per order, or cost per job post, and I measure relevance score. Nothing else. Everything else I consider crap. So to make decisions on Facebook or on Google, I have 1 or 2 or 3 metrics that I use, and then I do my funnels centrally in Google Analytics. Doing more than that is something that I would love to do and that I try to do, but I think for Cyprus numbers would be overkill.
Hi. How can someone attain the depth of knowledge you have on analytics? Because you can't go to the university, right?
Can you repeat that?
How can someone attain the depth of knowledge you have in analytics?
There are many ways to do it. Like, most subjects today, the best way to learn is start by see what people are doing online, read blogs, take a course or something online, but skip through most of it and get the important points. So the best advice I have is do it every week. Like set aside 2 hours, not a full day or not 100 hours, 2 hours every week, and say you will improve a little bit every week. And do that every week, and after a year you will find yourself like doing some amazing shit. And after 2 years you will say, okay, now I see like I'm in the top 5% globally. If you just keep learning every week, it's, the feedback loop, MVP, build, learn, there are a ton of resources out there, but if you start doing this, 20 weeks in, you will realize that, okay, I'm more advanced than most of them. And you start doing some prop work, and it will be interesting.
Is it just reading, or is it something, don't you need something to practice on?
You have to do. It's mostly doing. Like, reading gives you ideas, and ideas sort of get you interested or give you the energy to do something now. But you have to do. I think you can do so much more with the data, but the biggest limitations are the time you want to spend on it. It's always a balance. Could I have perfect results if I spend 1,000 hours on it? You bet. Should I? Is the ROI ever positive to spend 1,000 hours on analytics? If you're Amazon, yes. If you're not, no. So it's always by doing. Always do. And I stress that a lot because once you do something, you always want to make it better. But you shouldn't always. You should find the balance. What works? What's the best that I can do? That's the right fit for the size and the stage of my company.
Okay, that's going to have to be our last question. Thank you very much. I'm sure you can find him outside and ask him anything further that you wish to. We're now going to have a short coffee break until 2:30, where we'll continue with Vasilis and Gorogos. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.